Is Apple's new deal with Roku a sign that they are winning the streaming wars, or is it just a sign of desperation? Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Welcome to my media channel, and let's talk about Apple and Roku. I want to do more on this channel because, here's the thing. I like streaming stuff and talking about media than I do talking about the economy or other things like that. However, I haven't had a lot of stories that I felt I really wanted to talk about, but this might be one of them. Apple has made what is most likely a very shrewd move, and it's also a very, very surprising move in my opinion, and I actually think this shows that Apple might be getting desperate for people to sign up for Apple TV Plus, a streaming service whose numbers we are not aware, but which at least the New York Post believes is struggling, and after looking at their latest action, I'm going to kind of tend to agree with them. So what am I talking about? Well, this is the headline from the New York Post. Apple quietly buys Roku remote button for its struggling Apple TV Plus app. As you can see, there's the Roku remote, and here's Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, all services that seem pretty standard, and there's Apple TV Plus. However, Apple TV Plus is not exactly a household name as far as I am concerned, but we'll get to that in a moment. So, Apple TV Plus is scrambling for new subscribers in this writer's opinion, and it's quietly looking to an unlikely rival for help. Apple's struggling streaming service, which it launched in November 2019, has bought a button on the Roku remote, a surprise tie-up with the popular streaming stick maker that Apple hopes will expand its customer base. Roku revealed the button on its website Wednesday morning, and this article is a couple weeks old. I'm a little late talking about this. Without formally announcing it, showing a picture of its new remote that had easy access buttons for Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, and Apple TV Plus. The new remotes have also begun popping up at retailers, including Best Buy, which early Wednesday was offering an Apple TV Plus emblazoned remote with Roku's new Express 4K streaming player, which is selling for $40. A Roku spokesman declined to comment. Apple didn't respond to requests for comment. Now, here's why this story really caught my attention. For a couple of reasons. First of all, it's a big deal to be on the Roku remote. Roku is by far the biggest top box streaming device in the world. It's not the PlayStation 4, it's not the Xbox Series X, it's not even the Apple TV, which I love and I have set up over there. The Roku is by far the biggest one. All the other streaming boxes, they compete with Roku. So being on the remote, especially with how many streaming services there are, is not a cheap proposition. In fact, it's a very expensive proposition. Now, that's the first reason this stood out to me. The second reason this stood out is that this is Apple we're talking about. Apple prides itself, or themselves I should say, on basically having their own ecosystem. You want an Apple card, you got to have an iPhone to use that Apple card. Heck, you need the iPhone to request the little titanium card. So even though I had an Apple card, that's why I couldn't use it because I didn't have an iPhone at the time. Now I do, so all's well with the world. Their Apple Music service, I don't think you can get that on any other device that I am aware of. Apple would definitely be happy to have their products on other devices, but they stop other companies from putting services on their devices. Therefore, other services typically do not allow their services onto their products. I know iTunes was there, but basically Apple creates its own little ecosystem. And Apple TV is a competitor of Roku. And Apple would much prefer that you buy an Apple TV rather than a Roku device. So the fact that they are putting the Apple TV Plus button on the remote, and obviously they're paying Roku a crap ton of money to do this, a crap ton of money. I think this actually kind of shows that Apple is probably getting a little desperate for this service to actually take off. I know that people who buy Apple devices basically have not been paying for this service for a couple years. I mean, every time you buy a device, you get like a year of the service for free. So my brother's never paid for it. I think I paid for it for a few months before I got an iPhone. Then my wife got a new iPhone, and so therefore we do not have to pay for Apple TV Plus. We also don't use it that much, though. I mean, we watch the morning show and Servant, I believe, and also that Central Park show. I really like Central Park, but I'm not watching Apple TV Plus that much. It's just not something that comes up, and so I think Apple is just sinking a lot of money into this, and they just need something to do to get people to watch. Now, putting the button on the Roku remote, does that necessarily mean that they are going to get more subscribers? Well, potentially. I mean, at the very least, people who buy Roku devices will be made more aware of it. But being on the Roku remote doesn't necessarily mean you'll succeed. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is a remote for, admittingly, a much older model of the Roku. I have since upgraded, but look at the things that are on there. Okay, there's Netflix. I mean, that's still there, obviously. And Crackle, I mean, that's still there. And Amazon, okay, that's still there. But what are the other ones? MGO. Well, you don't see that anymore. And Blockbuster. Don't see that anymore. I think if you press Blockbuster, it opens up Fandango now. And if you press this, it opens up iHeartRadio for some reason. The Pandora, that's still around, but when you press that, it opens up Spotify now for some strange reason. So I guess, I don't know. I don't know how that works. Maybe that's a glitch. I don't know. But the bottom line is like, okay, so at least two of those, here, we'll blow it out. The Netflix and the Amazon, those are staples. The rest of these are either no longer active or they're around, but no one really uses it very much. Personally, I do think in the future, and this might just contradict things I just said, at the end of the day, if you want to be one of the big players in town, you want to be on the Roku app. The Roku app only allows like 4 companies on there, and like let's take a look at this picture one more time. Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu. Those are pretty good bets for being long-term services that everyday people use and they never get rid of. But what's the next one going to be? Well, it could be HBO Max. It could be Paramount Plus. I know they definitely want it, maybe Peacock, but Apple swooped in and they paid a ton of money. This could help them get a lot more subscribers, but it also shows, in my opinion, that the company might not be doing nearly as well as they want to act like they are doing. So I think this is just an overall fascinating situation. But I would like to ask, what do you think? Do you think that Apple buying real estate on the Roku remote is a sign that they are effectively struggling and they just are really desperate for subscribers? Or do you think this is actually a sign of them being very confident that they are going to be one of the 4 services that absolutely everyone will want, and therefore they see it as valuable to be on the Roku device? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.